Hi, hello. I'm working is what I'm doing, and I thought as I'm working, and I don't go live very often, I'd go live and talk to you about this piece of work I'm working on, which is a website, um, and I am rebuilding it from its original state into something a little bit more interesting. So I'm just going through each of the pages, and that's a big old block of text. I need some work, but quite like some of the stuff I've done in this already. The young people's section has got these lovely little animations that is obviously aimed at young people, so they can play with this. Do you live in Devon? It's got a little tractor coming over. And then do you have a special? It's a website. It's a council website, local council, Devon County Council, and it's aimed at special educational needs and disabilities SEND, and so I'm kind of got to have to bear that in mind, that some of the audience at least will love the fact they can play with stuff like this and it keeps them engaged. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I've designed out most of these pages, and I'm just literally building it now. So the young people section was really important, because this is the area that obviously young people, and by young it's 0 to 18 really, so it needs to have stuff that keeps them engaged. So little things like this animated ticker, and then you can see, actually, I refresh this box, these little puppies come bouncing in as well. Boom. A little head down there that does his thing. So hello, how are you? Thanks for popping in. I'm just kind of chewing the breeze, and as I said, I'm working. So I've about 80% finished on this project, and I'm just going through each page and making them interesting. That's kind of what I'm trying to do at the moment, or more interesting than a basic block of text anyway. And I'm using, it's WordPress, a WordPress website, and I'm using something called Elementor, which is a framework that makes life a lot easier than if you hand code all this stuff. So the next page that I'm going to work on is, let's have a look, face-to-face support, which is a massive wall of text. And so the first thing I'm going to do is have a quick look at this and say, Kumla, how are you? What can I do in terms of breaking this up and making it more interesting? You've got the target audience for this website is by and large parents and young people. There's some element of educational establishment and consultancy that pop in here, but in the main it's parents and young people. So they will probably be looking at it on a mobile, fairness, and probably a phone as well. Now, I haven't done the optimization for mobile yet, so that's the next phase for next week. Been working on it for about 2 weeks, but they were really keen. So let's go to the home page. They were really keen to make it very engaging. So I've got this lovely Ken Burns effect on the slider, which is I really like, and this acute angle features prominently throughout the design as well. So there we go, it's back in at that point. And Vet, how are you, my friend? Thanks for popping in. I'm probably stealing other people's showtime here, but this is something a little different that I don't tend to share, and I'm working on some stuff and a little bit of web design. So this is the home page, and this has essentially set the definition of the design for the rest of the site, except for the young people section, which they wanted it treated specially for young people. So under 25s. So I've got lots of little animations and stuff going on in here. As you scroll through the page, everything moves. Do you live in a little tractor? And she gets really zen when you mouse over her. It's pretty cool. little things like this. It's to keep the audience engaged. These aren't just young people. These are predominantly young people with special needs. So big colors, big blocks of text, big images, this kind of stuff that's going to keep them feeling engaged. But each of these pages has been built independently for each one of these. So there's stuff in all of them that's just a little bit more interesting than a wall of text. At least that's the idea. All of them have got little animations in, and this one little bottle. So I've gone through all the interesting stuff, and I'm now just finishing off on what is in essence just walls of text. There's only so much that you can essentially do. Little video. Yeah. Oh, a little map as well, which is quite cute when you move over it. So I'm at support. I've just done DIAS officers. I'm now going to do face-to-face support. And this is essentially where I do that work. So if I go to face-to-face support, I think in this case I need to convert the page first. Yes, I do. So I just go in and edit the page. Hope you guys are good. Thanks for all your love and support this week, by the way. It's meant a huge amount. I was just FaceTiming my daughter because, bless her, she's locked away in a room, and we were going to watch Netflix, but Netflix are very clever. They stop you from Zoom sharing, which was a bit annoying. So I've got to create, you'll remember, if I go back up to any one of these previous pages, let's go to DIAS officers. There's an oblique slider image, hero image here. The positioning of those images isn't great, as can be seen in a lot of them, and that's largely down, unfortunately, to the images that we've got to play with. But the point is, I need to choose a new hero image for each page. I really like the look of this one, though. So we'll choose that one as our featured image. Update that page. And we'll then edit with Elementor, which is it's become kind of the de facto front-end development platform of choice now for, yeah, she's a little bit cut off, bless her. But to be fair, this young chap is the main focus, so it's not such a big problem. And then we've got our wall of text. What I will do is add one of my global elements, give some feedback on this one, pop that in there. There you go. This is all stuff that I've pre-built at the outset of the site, so I can just drop it in. You don't have to do it each time. And then if I edit the original, all of these instances will be changed, or I can unlink it, but we'll leave it as it is. So wall of text, what kind of face-to-face support can we give? Volunteers. So what I might do is break this up in, there's 3 distinct blocks of text. So what I think we'll do is we will duplicate this, and let me see what's the next one. What kind of face-to-face support? So we'll cut that from here down to here. We'll get rid of that, which isn't a problem because we've also got this duplicated block. So we take it down from the first section to what kind of face-to-face. And now we've got that section in there. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to duplicate this. And then I can make sure I'm in the right one. Yeah. Get rid of DIAS volunteers, everything down from here to the bottom of that page. We'll delete that. And then we've got our duplicated section. So we need to get rid of the first block of text. It's the whole lot of this is very manual. But in the olden days, we'd have to work in HTML, which is hypertext markup language, which is essentially what we've got here. So there's a heading with bold in. I'm going to get rid of the bold, by the way. That shouldn't be bold. We don't make a heading bold. There we go. And same thing for what kind of face-to-face support actually wants to be heading 3 and not bold. I don't know, actually, I might go with heading 2. So, yeah, a bit bigger. There we go. And similarly up here. Now, we've now got 3 blocks of distinct content, which allows us to do more than when it was a single block of content. We've got volunteers, face-to-face support, and an intro section. So with the intro section, what I think I will do, select that, make it italicized, and heading 3, there we go. What I will do is I'll add another column in here, like so, and in this right-hand box, I think we'll add something like, I don't know, an image carousel or something, just something that moves and looks a bit more interesting. Alternatively, what I might do is pop across to Lottie Moss, as nice as she is. Lottie, here we go. So Lottie is, these are JSON files, they're animations, which you can use for free in your, I'm not sure which one I signed up with, let's have a look, which you can use for free in your sites. So what I will do, once it's logged me in, is, yeah, whatever, let's just get on with it. So it's going to give me a new account. Face-to-face support is the thing. So what we'll do is, if I can just get rid of that box, that'd be quite nice. Well, describe your role. Okay, I'm a developer. There you go. Are you happier? I'm not another. Thank you very much. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for literally face-to-face. Let's see what animations come up. If I've got something that's relatively not too cartoony, and they all are, I want something that's more literal. Okay, page 2. Yeah, they're all a bit, none of these are appropriate really. Something, yeah, I'm not sure this is going to work. We'll do one more page and then I'll revert to something a little bit more traditional. Yeah, no, they're no good. Okay, so my other resource of choice is Envato, which is an Australian company, I think. But these guys have, this is a subscription service, professional subscription service, so it's largely used by commercial outlets, but they have, whoops, a bit of a typo there, they have the most amazing library, stock images, videos, you name it. So what am I looking for? We know the subject matter, special needs kids in the main. That's a nice one. And we want something that's going to be a literal rendition of face-to-face. So our main aim is to give parents the skills and knowledge to feel confident managing meetings and relationships. So that one with the child, probably not. Maybe something like this one, though. This is a bunch of adults that are, you're not alone. It's kind of a male self-help group. I mean, it's on the right track, but I mean, you could tell by reading the posters that it's not quite the right subject matter. So that's quite a nice one. I mean, the guy's clearly, he's not happy, is he? And this is about giving you confidence. Give parents to feel confident in managing meetings and relationships. But it kind of could be having a Zoom meeting, I suppose. But then he's surrounded by, hello, Lee. All right, Mason, what time's your show? Because I don't want to crash it. I'm just sort of showing people my little bit of workflow, really. But I'm aware that you do Friday nights. It's your thing, so I don't want to be crashing that. Ah, cool. I'm good for a few minutes. So I guess what we're looking for is meetings or meeting. And what we're looking for is ideally a clear parent, meet in a meeting situation. That one could work, I guess. The guy with talking to the woman with the cup, potentially. You don't want it to look officey and businessy, because ultimately this is a service for parents, and he could be a parent. Let's see if would that work. Meeting at a cafe. I quite like that. So I'm going to download this. That gives me a commercial license. I've already added it to it, so I don't have to pay any more. Save that one into my we are Rokk work. Dias. We'll pop that one in there. We've got a few already, but I've got a license, and I can, if ever needs be, I can pull up and say, yeah, I've got the license for this. So what we can do now, and what I'm actually going to do, is make this full screen rather than a reduced width, which will allow me a little bit of padding down the left and right hand side, and we'll go with M's rather than pixels, only because M's will stretch, so they're relative to the screen width, and if you're on a mobile device, they'll be relative rather than pixels, which are fixed on whatever screen you're using. So we'll go with say two M's on the left and 2 M's on the right, and then we'll pop our picture in here that we've just got. So we'll find our image. There we are. Drop that in there, click on that, upload, and find the one we just. Where's the fella gone? He's in Rokk work, Devon IAS. There he is. There's our man. Now this is going to be a massive file. Hey Charles, how are you? I'm just working. I'm literally working. This is what I do for part of my day. Only I'm doing it. I want to get this project out of the way, so I'm working a little bit late tonight. But I thought I may as well go live and share this. Now, as you can see, this is a massive 5 megabit image, which is no good for anybody's web page. So we're going to optimize it using a plugin that I use on all my projects called Robin, which will optimize an image. I don't need to wait for it. It'll do it in the background. Get rid of all the caption stuff and the title stuff. I should, for not just SEO, but for accessibility, I should put an alt tag in. But there's nothing, the content of this image is not necessary in order to understand the context of the page. Therefore, it's not such a big issue. And actually, there's a lot of accessibility stuff in this site already. There we go.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no need to apologize, Siri. It's my little Siri watch there. So there's our image. Now, it ain't big, is it? Let's be frank here. It's not massive, and that wall of text is still doing its thing. Now, I can embed it within the text and run it around. It's just not quite with Elementor, the editing packet, the framework we're using here. It's just not so nice to do that, but I can do that. I mean, if I delete, let's get rid of this, delete, kill that column, okay, take it back into full width, and what we'll do is add media. There he is, there's our fella. Just out of interest, do you remember it was 5 megs? And you may or may not be able to see this. That has now become 186K because of the optimization. So a 94% optimization. Now it's only marginal, the quality. We need to make sure that, I'm going to get rid of that, do it again. Make sure that I put the right size in for what I need, because I want it to be fairly big. Yeah, there we go. And I want it to be aligned to the right. And then that'll pop up. There we go. Now it's obviously massive, but I like to start with it fairly big so that it's got fidelity, and I can shrink it way too small. Let me just pull this out. This is the one downside of this framework. Editing stuff on the left-hand side, it's not that precise. I still want you bigger. I would like you a bit bigger. You have to bear in mind that different screen sizes are going to see this image differently. it to be fairly big. That's probably going to be okay. Let's pull that back out. You see how the text runs around the image, depending on the width and size of the screen. That's okay. It could probably go a little bigger still, but we'll leave it at that for now. So that's our first box. I'm actually gonna take it out of full width now that I've, yeah, that's causing issues. There we go. That's all right. That's okay. That's all right. Update that just to save it down. And Polaris, how are you, my friend? Yeah, we're doing good, thank you. We're doing all right. We're all in our little various isolation silos. So we've still got two more boxes to do something interesting with. Now, putting a photo in, I agree with you, isn't particularly interesting. But what we can do is we can fade. We can do some little bit of animation. So let's fade this in. So as you come down, we'll do the same with this one. We'll fade it in, and there we go. And we'll do it with this as well. So as you move down the page, each of those will fade in, which isn't an amazing animation, but it is amazing what an impact it has as you work through a page. What kind of face-to-face support can we give? What I think I'll do is, this is really, really basic, but at this point in time, I've done so much to this site that I'm quite keen to. Dinosaur Sometimes is a good face-to-face in a number of ways. As a wall of text, it's not brilliant anyway. Let me just put a little bit of space, a little bit of line break in there. Number of ways. What I might do, let me save this. I'll show you if I can find one of these other pages. Is it our vision? Let's have a look. That's one way we could handle it. So we could do it as tabs. But I'm trying to think which page I did this particular thing. What we do at Dias, was that it? No, that wasn't it. I can't remember now, which is annoying me. These little animations can make such a difference to a page. And then when you couple it with a scroll effect, so as I move up and down the page, it moves left and right. But again, for young people, particularly with special needs as well, it's little things like that just make it vastly more engaging for them. No, it's none of those. No, that's one of the most boring pages in the site. No, okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so because we've got some bullet points, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bullet points here. So what I think I'll do is add a section in here and break them out either into boxes or use something clever like the timeline function. Timeline. There it is. This is really cute, but it takes a little bit of setting up. So here you go. The idea really obviously is a timeline. So, you know, in February we did this and then we did that and so on. And as you move up and down, this one fits an entire screen so you don't see the effect. But as you move through, these change color as you go up and down through the thing. But unfortunately, you're not seeing it. But the plan is that if you change it to, say, left, there you go, and then have a hover effect on focus. So what we'll do is we'll change the background color to yellow on focus. Now, as you'll see, as I move up and down through these, they change color. Now that's, it's pretty drastic. We'll play with how that looks, but it can be really nice just as a tool to be a little bit more interesting. I've tended to use the color palette for the site is fairly varied because we've got, you can see in the logo, blue through to red, through to orange, through to yellow. And on the home page, that's used to really good effect. For example, in this slider is a gorgeous image. I love that photo. Is blue, and then the next one is the red, and then the next one is the orangey yellow. So we're the design that I did was to complement those colors, and then they are used throughout the site. So in the home page, those colors are used really nicely because there's loads of content to play with there. But on the internal pages, it doesn't tend to get much of a look in. And I've tended to stick more with the yellow and the orange because they are more readable. Black against yellow is more readable than black against blue, for example, which you would never do from an accessibility perspective. But what I typically will do, and will do in this case, is tone that down. So I'll apply some transparency to it because it's way too bright. There we go. We need it to be fairly subtle. Also with this, we can add a transition, which is really nice. So if we give it, let's increase the transition to say twice. What that will do now is fade into those colors rather than be really stark. And it's the kind of thing that you wouldn't even notice, and then just think, oh, they've changed color. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take each of these bullet points. Let's just copy them out for now. We'll leave them where they are. And we're going to change the content in here. Now, clearly, we don't have a date, so we'll delete that date. That's fine. And neither do we have a heading. So we'll just select all of this and replace it with that bullet point. There we go. Only we don't need it to be a bullet point, so we'll take that off. And then we've got our text. And what we'll do is increase that font size. Well, actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go back in there. We'll make it a heading of 3. And that will just make it jump a little bit, which is quite cute. We don't want the date icons, but we can change those in a minute. And we'll take the next one. It's a tiny one. Half a dozen words. And open that up. Delete the date. Don't need a date. And select all of that text. Paste that in there and take off the bullets. And make it a paragraph of 3. There we go. So got consistency now. Next one, working. This is a bigger one. Working alongside. It's huge. All the way down to there. Whoops. Wrong key. Shift. Copy that out and come back into our timeline. Get rid of the date. And select all and paste. Select once, get rid of the bullets, and select once, change to heading 3. Boom, boom, boom. Far more interesting visually than the previous bullet points, I'm sure you'll agree. And then the final one. Now, because this is the final one, what we'll do is we'll delete all of them to that point there. And then I'm going to need to move that block of text in a second below all of these. Right, so we need one more. We'll add that here. There we go. We'll get rid of the date. There is no date on that one. That's cool. I'll paste all of that in, get rid of the bullet points, change it to a heading 3. There we go. And then we have that much more interesting. And then there's that. And when is always influenced by, I don't know why. doesn't seem to relate to anything. Was it part of that, I wonder? Let's have a look at the, I haven't saved it, so we can have a quick look. It's under support, and it's face-to-face support. So let's have a look at the unsaved page. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that, my friend. I love a bit of history. So where are we? What we were able to do, we lost. So we must have either copied that across, so we'll take that, we'll copy it from here anyway. Let's go back. Make sure I didn't add it into here. No. And then we'll pop it back on there. What we were able to do, and when, there we are. So just copy that out, cut that out, cut. And then that's perfect. I'm going to add that back into a new text box just quickly so I don't forget. Text editor, paste that in there. Boom, there we go. So that's the continuation of that text. So now we've got DIAS officers and volunteers give face-to-face support in a number of ways. And then we've got this much more interesting number of ways. And what we'll do with that icon down the left-hand side is, where are we? It's called a point on here. We'll get rid of the calendar. We'll put a tick, or as the Americans call it, a check. We'll pop a check in the post. There it goes. And we'll increase that size. That's more interesting. And the icon size. There we are. And we'll change the color to, I'll tell you what we'll change it to. We're not going to change it to a color that's in our palette. We're going to change it to a nice green. So that's the default. And the reason that one's staying blue is because it is focused, and we need to change that. So we'll change that to orange. And what will happen is, as we move down the screen and it becomes focused, it changes from green to orange. How cool is that? There you go. So that's made for a much more interesting scroll. What I don't like, though, is that line. And I will get rid of it simply by giving it a thickness of, oops, wrong key. There we go, 0. So there you go. Much nicer. Hello, Trey. How are you? I'm going to do this for another 8 minutes, and then I'm going to say goodnight because I fancy watching Lee and the guys playing. But so that's made that much more interesting than what we had just now with the wall of text. It's still a kind of a bit of a wall of text. And also what I'm not happy about is there's a difference here in space padding. So I'm going to go back into here and where are we? This one. And I'm going to use M's so that they are relative and rather than fixed. And I'm going to pop 2 M's left and right, and that will make it exactly the same. I'm quite happy to leave my little columns hanging outside, but the text most definitely needs to be consistent. So we'll just do the same thing there. M's to make it relational, or relative, sorry. Oops, didn't want all of them though. 0, that off. Damn you. That's it, then that one off. 2 and 2. There we go. Perfect. And then the same for this. DIAS volunteers. M's left 2, right 2. Perfect. All right, there we go. So that's working quite nicely now. I didn't need to do a great deal more, but what I do want to do is make that heading 3 to make it kick off and italicize it as well. Like so. We've got a little box that's a bit close to the text box, so we'll pop a little bit of space. Pixels are fine. There we go. I think that's okay for that page. I've got everything I need to worry about there. We'll save that one. I am using Elementor, Trey. This is Elementor Pro in actual fact. And we'll go and have a little refresh over on the live page and see how that's looking. And there we have our lovely scrolly effect. Much more interesting. I'm sure you agree. And then we've got our call to action box at the base. And the rest of it's all fitting in nicely. So that's that one. As I say, at this moment in time, I've not been through and optimized for mobile, but what I will do when I get to that point is I might lose the image. I may have to change these. We'll have a look. I'll have a play with that next week. Today it's just about finishing the site off. The actual site itself, the live site, it is live. This is what we call a staging site, which is what we set up to build. The actual live site looks like this. So you can actually see how that page, where are we, support, face-to-face support, there we go. You can see how different it is. It's just a wall of text. And the home page is okay. I mean, it's, I've seen worse. We did build this one originally. Rokk did this one a few years back, maybe 3-4 years ago now. And we kind of, it never happens, but we on average, we always say a site probably needs a refresh every 2 years because, designs and effects and stuff change. But I do think this new design is just fresher. They wanted more space, they wanted more color, they wanted more engagement, and they wanted more people shots, which they've definitely got. It's certainly more engaging, I think, as well. It's more fun. And I particularly love my little young people section. I poured a lot of love into this with my little animations. There it goes. Whee! I never tire. I never tire of running through these. It's for the kids. So yeah, I'm sure they'll love it. Yeah, you do, Drea. You can't get your mobile version good as it's not in line with the website layout. Yeah, you have to approach them as two separate sites. Honestly, I never, even as far as content's concerned, I will certainly lose images and things if I think if it's going to be for the mobile version. So that's that page. That's that page put to bed. Where are we? Face-to-face support. So we've got one more. I may not have the time to do this live, but that's a much nicer looking effect. It's really broken out quite nicely, I think. The last one is training and information events, and another wall of text with some photos in. A lot of this stuff's fairly dry, to be fair, aimed at trainers and training and information events for parents, demystifying send information, training event for professionals. So, it doesn't want to be too jazzy, to be fair, because it is intended to be information. And if you make it tricksy, and you've come here to just try and get some basic information, you're going to get upset and walk away. So the truth is probably something to not get too clever with on the base information. But every time you're working on any page, you have to think about who is the target audience, who are the stakeholders. Sorry, went to the wrong place there. Media library. I've got to put my header image in, choose an existing one. I'm going to go for that one. Update the page, and then I can convert it to Elementor, get it outside of the hideous WordPress editing. There we go. So yeah, you have to look at every single page. Love you, my friend. You have to look at every single page and take it in terms of context. Who's going to be looking at the page? What devices are they going to be using? What screen sizes are they going to be using? All of that stuff is really important. What I do have is a bunch of global widgets that I've created. So I'm going to whack a newsletter one in here. Each page has got one of these. So that's cool. I'm just inclined to not do a massive amount with this particular one. Just tidy this block of text up, I think. Let's see. Let's give it a 1.3 line height. just spread it out a tad. We need to get rid of the forced bold, because that doesn't exist in my design. And it's heading 1 as well. What the heck are you doing? You don't put an H1 down a page. I'll go with an H2 and take off the bold, which is more in keeping with the original design. We'll just space it out as well. That's heading 2, heading 3 in bold. It doesn't need to be bold. You should, bold, etc. should all be set up as the style for a heading. You shouldn't add it after. Not really. The rest of that's okay. Doobie doobie doo. Demystifying. We'll put a space in there. Push that down. Heading 3 is good. I'm okay with that. The next one, the Dias service. Again, just put a space in to make it a little bit more readable. So training and information. So we've gone back to heading 1. That needs to be heading 2. And it needs to get rid of the bold. Whoops, there we go. And we'll put a space in there. Yeah, I love ASMR. I really do. I love all that. That's awesome. And then finally, we'll put a little space there. And I think, I tell you what I'll do. One final thing, we'll add a section in here. I've got a pre-built template that I've created, which is a bunch of contact boxes. So we'll drop that straight in there just to give, and I'm going to make it full width. It's full width. Where's my stretch gone? Full width layout. That's weird. Oh, no, that's okay. Oh, we'll update it anyway. We're going to have a look and see how that looks for the final page of the evening. So it's training and information events. And there's that. I'm not so sure about this now. It's quite low res. So we've just spread these out, made them a little bit more, and then we've got our boxes in there, okay, and then we've got this. So I think, other than, I wouldn't mind just putting a little bit of background color on these, and it doesn't need anything too harsh, just a little bit of gray in the yellow spectrum, I think. And I'm going to put some padding left. No. In there. That's where we want it. Left 10. Oh, okay. Yep. I know I've cardinal error. I need my color. I need my little bit of color here. And then I need to take off the color for the containing box, which will do. And that then gives us that will give us the little bit of a break between the columns. I can copy this and paste style and paste style. And now, theoretically, if I put, oh, it's got 10, it's got a padding of 10. So if we put padding in here of 5, that's interesting. Okay, that's okay. And that just makes it a little. Oh, and one final thing, I'm just going to whack a bit of animation in. We'll have it fade in up. There we go. And we'll just preview that page very quickly. And that just, yeah, just sets it off. So the theory goes that if we refresh the page, that animation won't kick in until we actually get down to that point in the page. There it comes. Just gives it a little bit more. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the entire that's actually all of the pages that I need to build now, with the one exception of resources, which requires a bit more work. It's not just, it's an entire library of documents that needs to be created, which I'll do next week. A little effect there to go back to the top. And it only comes in when you get so far down the page. You see that? And also when you, back to the top to tell you what to do. That's it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a little insight into some of the stuff that I get up to. I, unlike a lot of people, tend to design and build literally at the same time, which is what you've seen tonight. So I'll approach each page based on its content, how I feel it needs to be applied for the specific audience. And yes, that's what we do. Right, go and watch Cloud Gaming Dad and Codex, I believe, playing games, P stuff. Thank you for popping in. I've been meaning to do something like this for a while, and I thought, I don't know, it's should I be showing people, stuff I'm working on and what have you? But I hope you found it a little bit interesting, just seeing how I do stuff. And if you have enjoyed it, let me know. If you want me to do it again, I will. Hi, Krampus, how are you? I'm just heading off, my friend. But this was just a little you and me showing you some of the stuff that I get up to in my working day when I'm working on sites. I love it. It really does get to flex the creative side in me. And some of the sites, this one's got a huge amount of content, so sometimes it's a bit, oh no, I wish it would end. But it's great because you do get to exercise that left side of the brain. I just wanted to shrink that down a bit, and I think that probably looks a bit better now. Let's have a look. Yeah, it was kicking the edge. See, when you move over them, they wobble. They go in the opposite direction to your mouse. And she goes all blurry and sort of dream state-like. I love this page. There you go. Thank you so much. And have a great weekend, guys. And once again, thank you for all the love that you've been expressing over our little COVID adventure here. My daughter is locked away in her room, bless her. I hate it. My wife's being really, what's the word for it? She's not letting her get away with anything, whereas I'm like, oh, what the heck? Let her out. No, she's got to stay in the room. So we've just been FaceTiming and watching Netflix and stuff. But I really appreciate your affections and your best wishes. It means a huge amount to us all. And if you've enjoyed this, let me know, and I'll do it again sometime, because you'll usually find me doing this kind of stuff if I'm not gaming or streaming. This is my kind of day-to-day, what I get up to. So yes, there we are. Right, go and watch some gamers, you lovely folk. Diligent, orderly, yes, orderly, very much, very British. You're right. She's been quite school marmish in ensuring. And we've literally, it's such a shame. We've been eating dinner, or tea as I call it, in our dining room. We've got great big French windows into the garden, and my wife's literally set up a garden table outside in the garden, the other side of the French windows. So we're all eating in the dining room and she's out in the garden on the table, and it breaks my heart to see it. Bless her. She's not feeling great anyway, but there you go. That's a virus for you. That's not her fault. Have a great weekend, folks. Thank you so much. And yeah, love and best wishes. Take care.